Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of UC Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto, and I'm here at the DSE and LDI conferences in Las Vegas. We're going to take a walk around, give you a sense of what's going on, and maybe have one or two conversations with some of the people that are here. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Solvik Bosler and I'm with Schnick Systems.
What does Schnick Systems do?
Schnick Systems manufactures premium LED modules and the matching power supplies, and we do it in Germany with the approach of delivering the highest technology, best technology.
Now we have a mutual friend, Neil Fuster, that says you are brilliant in terms of understanding LED and color imaging and quality. What are the kinds of things that you do on a daily basis that give you that expertise?
Well, I'm responsible for the marketing and sales in the company of Schnick Systems, but I have been working in the lighting industry for 25 years. So I have been dealing with LEDs and lighting fixtures like nearly all my life.
Okay, that's wonderful. So wait, it's red, green, blue, and then magenta, cyan, and yellow are the subtractive primaries. I have to remember that.
Yeah, those red and green and blue you will find here very, very often.
And you're able to combine them to create the full spectrum of colors.
Yes, absolutely.
So what does the company, what are your products? What do you make?
We manufacture LED modules like tiles and strips and dots, and you can combine them like a little bit like a Lego system, so you can create nearly any shape and then connect them to each other and create organic shape or a diverse shape like triangles, circles, or like any size.
So are you manufacturing for other manufacturers for components or for people that are actually using it, the consumer?
We are delivering to both. So we are manufacturing OEM series for other manufacturers or for other vendors, and we are delivering to customers directly, so theaters, TV studios, cruise ships, architects, architectural installation, system integration.
Okay, so the last two questions.
Yeah.
How would somebody find out more about your company? How do they find you?
Our website is www.schnickschnacksystems.com or schnick.schnack.systems.
Okay, and the last question. What do you want to say to Neil for making me come over here and do this?
Thank you, Neil. You are crazy.
So one of the interesting things about the LDI show over the years has always been how smoky the hall gets. There have been situations where they've had to have fire watch in the old convention center. I don't know what they're doing now, but in some of the places you just can't see down the aisles because there's so much smoke pouring into everything. One of the things somebody posted earlier this week that I really liked was the idea that every machine is a smoke machine if you operate it wrong enough. I really like that idea. And I suppose there are bubbles too. And with my friend Mike Brown. How do you pronounce your last name again?
You got it right the first time. Brown-Cestero.
Mike Brown. I'm with my friend Mike Brown-Cestero here at the LDI and DSE conference, which is a little smaller than LDI and DSE has been in the past, isn't it?
I would say DSE is a little bit smaller. LDI is about the same as it's been for the last few years, which is, I would agree, smaller than it was, say, 10 years ago or so.
I think there's less exhibitors but more smoke.
Yes, the smoke detectors are definitely off.
And they have fire watch, I assume.
Yes, yeah, they'll have fire watch everywhere and up in the catwalks too.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, what are you doing lately? What's going on for your business here?
So, most people don't know, but I'm based in Las Vegas. I'm a contractor here. We, I don't know what this recession is that Jamie Dimon's talking about, because just in the last 3 weeks, I've had 6 customers come out of the woodwork with proposals that I thought were dead. Hadn't heard from them in months. Purchase orders, contract signed, let's go. And this is all work that at this point they know they can't get done before the end of the year. It's going to have to be into next year. And in some cases, there's still a few supply chain issues, so some of it's going to be dictated to be next year just because I can't get the gear fast enough.
I'm kind of hearing that for everybody in the industry, that things are starting to take off again. And people
everything is super busy. I was just reading a report today from one of the economic newsletters that I get that this will be the busiest holiday spending season ever. Over 2019, not even close.
So tell me about what you saw at the show. What was interesting? What was different? What was the same?
So I'm here both as a contractor, but I'm also here as the managing director of Cavlo, which is the regional pro AVL trade show that I manage. I am seeing smaller booths for the most part, at least on the DSE side. So that tells me some of the exhibitors are being a little more cautious with their trade show dollars, which I think is a good move in general. Some of the bigger trade shows, I think, are losing a little bit of their value. There's a bigger booth doesn't necessarily equate to more leads or more traffic. So you got to manage that. I think that's one of the things we do really well with Cavlo. On the LDI side, the booth pretty much seemed to be as big. What I do not see as much this year at all, anywhere close, are these smaller Asian manufacturers. You know, the ones you typically find at the back of the hall. There will be a whole slew of 10 by 10s that are very plainly decorated. But these are the companies I like to look at because they've got the next widget or gadget or gizmo that might take off, that a bigger company might emulate and then turn into something a little more polished. There hardly any of those companies are here this year. So it's going to be mostly the big brands. I'm seeing Elation and Roby. You know, Roby announcing their acquisition of Avolites. Verilight is there. And then some of the smaller ones that you always want to see. I was surprised Sony is on the LDI show floor, not on the digital signage show floor. Blackmagic is on the LDI show floor, not over in digital signage. I think that makes a little more sense. But I don't recall ever seeing Blackmagic on the LDI show floor before. So it's an interesting show. I think it's well worth coming. Obviously, I live in Vegas, so the commute is quite easy for me. Yeah, all the usual stuff. Lots of smoke, lots of bright lights, lots of loud music. It's a trade show.
Where is here? We're at lunch after leaving.
In Vegas, just Vegas. In nondescript lunch at Vegas.
We just left my 30-something LDI, which had a little DSE, a tiny DSE add-on.
Tiny DSE.
And we're here with Tim Albright. Tim, remind everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Tim Albright. I am the founder and chief everything at Aviation.
What did you think of the show this year?
Which one? Both. I'll tell you what. This is my first time at LDI.
Oh.
So let's start there.
Do you like all the lights and the smoke?
I love actually all the lights and the smoke. I am a Gen Xer through and through. I make no apologies for that in any way, shape, or form. So it took me back to going to Mississippi Nights in St. Louis, Missouri 30 years ago. And for those of you who are old enough and were around Mississippi Nights 30 years ago, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a great little venue, and it was on the riverfront down in St. Louis. And this was Mississippi Nights. It was smoke, it was fog, it was lights, it was moving lights. There were Martin had some really great little, smaller canned moving things and changed colors. Light, which is a company I fell in love with in the late 80s, early 90s, back when they were proprietary and they wouldn't sell it to you. You had to lease it from them. Because they were that proprietary and that in demand, but it was good. It was a good experience. Lots of direct view LED, which apparently kind of came over from the DSE part. DSE was in contrast, bright, not dark. Right? There was no moving lights. Plenty of LED. It was a smaller show than I've seen in a long time from DSE, and obviously the same company owns it. I'm curious to see what they do with it. There was more software on the side of DSE content, as well as a handful of display manufacturers. So
it also looks like it's going to be one show going forward.
100%.
Right? There really isn't that much of a line between the two of them.
There's not, and here's the reason why. There's not a big line between DSE and LDI because Sony. I'll pick on Sony for a second. Sony's booth, their actual booth with their actual product, was in the LDI side, which is a departure from DSEs in the past. And they had virtual production they were showing, which is increasingly becoming more and more part of not only live staging and events, but also the production part of what we do in the AV industry. So I can very much see an instance where you have the DSE, what was officially the DSE show floor, kind of, consumed by the show floor of LDI, and you just kind of say it's LDI, and there's digital signage on the show floor as well.
And we see that at a lot of the trade shows we go to during the course of the year, where there are these pavilions to show off things.
Well, not just pavilions, but also you've got, ISE, right? ISE is a perfect example of this. And again, ISE is my favorite show because it has residential and commercial and signage and AI, all this other stuff kind of cobbled together. And I'll pick on Sony again. Sony's a company that makes a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Well, they have one booth at ISE. They just have it broken up and go, okay, you want commercial displays? Well, you go over here and you can see all the commercial. Oh, you want residential displays? Well, they're over here. It's still in the 40 by 40 square foot space of the Sony stand, but it's all kind of broken up and federated.
So we'll be back here in about a month.
Don't do that to me.
Sorry. For CES, right?
Yes, sir.
What kind of coverage do we have coming out of CES this year?
Oh my goodness! So a couple things. Number one, you're going to be doing your thing, which I'm very excited for and very, very thankful for. One of the content creators that we hired at CGI and Aviation the last year is a young man by the name of Patrick Norton. He hasn't been to as many CESs as you, but he's been to a close, right? And Patrick has covered the industry consumer side for a number of years, 20 plus years, 25 years. He used to write for a number of different magazines and internet properties. And so he and you are going to be educating me, right, on the coverage to have. The last time I was at CES, I fell in love with Eureka Row, right? And again, if you've never been to CES, Eureka Park is where all the innovation, right? Not that the other places don't, but this is where the crazy lady in her garage comes up with an incredible idea, and she goes to Eureka Park to show it off, right? This is where the cutting edge innovation happens. So I'm excited about that. Certainly, displays will be on full effect. And then AI will be a huge part. And it's not going to go away. It's not a buzzword. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not 3D TV, right? It'll be here for a while.
And then Eureka Park is in the Sands, which is now renamed to the Venetian Convention Center, which is right next door to the new Sphere. And if you thought the crowds for CES or something, wait till you try and walk over and see the Sphere.
No.
It's going to be a mess
It will be a
there,
mess.
so be prepared to wait in long lines. How can people find out more about Aviation TV if the website's up?
Go by the website, aviation.tv. That's aviation.tv.
So that's it for this week's episode of UC Weekly News. I'm David Danto. Thanks very much for tuning in every week, and we'll see you next week.